If I was the big man himself, I would make Lara Croft get periods every month, thus her face would swell up in disgusting fashion.
If I was the big boss above, then I'd make Shigeru Miyamoto a saint, and I'd make sure that there was a gaming room in every single office.
I would send a tidal wave over Japan so that all the Game Boy Advances would come to me.
Welcome, sinners, mortals, one and all, to this week's unrepentant edition of Emily.
On tonight's show, we'll be fiddling with the creator, that is the PlayStation's MTV music generator. Emily parted the oceans this week, broke down the walls of Babylon, and traveled all the way out to the end of the Northern Line, and returned with a droolingly good-looking Malice.
And Alex sold her soul and Christ knows what else to get a copy of the eternally awaited Game of God, Black and White.
But before you start flailing all over the place, the benevolent Booth has moved heaven and earth to bring you an exclusive preview of Herdy Gerdy.
Herdy Gerdy! What in the bleeding hell's heck of the gaming industry getting money for us now? Well, pure and simple, you play a herder called Gerdy. This is one of the latest titles to spring from Core Design, creators of the mega famous Tomb Raider. But unlike Lara Croft, Herdy Gerdy is a decidedly unsexy little fella. And yes, success in this game does come from knowing the ins and outs of life in the field. What? I hear you scream. A farming sim? Why? What you're looking at now, albeit in ridiculously early code, is a very complex game which isn't just about farming. You live on an island governed by a master herder who's chosen every 4 years at a huge herding tournament. The gameplay is based around the political intrigue of farming, as the current master has forced the land into dictatorship, and it's up to Gerdy to gain experience in herding to win the tournament and do his daddy proud. Conjuring up a distinct world where Bambi would feel right at home, the look is beautifully Disney, if a little Nintendo. Taking you from snowy peaks to rivers deep and even the insides of a beehive, this world is large. But what's more impressive is how the behaviour of each individual species affects the way you herd them. Okay, this is where the animal kingdom gets political. So far, you've got to deal with dupes, bleeps, grumps and grimps. Oh, bless them. And when they get together, it's more explosive than an episode of Celebrity Big Brother. Take, for example, the grumps, big bears that love the taste of dupes but wet their pants at the sight of water. Dupes can't swim but are happy to float, so leading them downstream will take them where you want to go and keep the grumps off your back. You can also distract the grumps by setting the grimps onto them, the little black gremlin types who get a real buzz out of annoying the grumps. Confused? It's just a matter of learning to be diplomatic and getting inside the mentality of the species. As you progress, you'll witness Gerdy himself visually change as he matures from a naive little hick into a master herder. With a whole cartoon world to get the animal inside you wagging his tail, this is a wet dream worthy of Rolf Harris. With a story revolving hopefully around Gerdy and not just Herdy, this is certainly a unique title for the PlayStation 2 and is coming out in October. Oh dear.
Now we're going to tell you what you can buy this weekend off the shop shelf.
Earth has been ravaged by hostile alien forces. Mankind is near extinction. Resistance is futile. And only one man can save the world. Sounds familiar? Not half. But if you fancy being the one to save the poor ickle human beings from turning into soulless bitch boy drones, C12 is the one for you and your PlayStation now.
Scotty to bridge, Scotty to bridge. The integrity of the Federation is in danger from the Borg, the Romulans,
the Dominion. She can't take it, Captain. But never fear, Starfleet researchers have come up with a bit of futuristic holographic camouflage and an elite squad of bright young rookies, the Away Team, who can reach parts other forces can't get to. So it'll be alright in the end, Captain.
Frag-a-doodle-doo, baby! It's Quake III Revolution! EA have teamed up with Bullfrog to bring you this souped-up version for the PlayStation 2. Hence, you get to frag Horny from Dungeon Keeper with your big fucking gun. If you think you're hard enough, that is. From single-player to chaotic 4-fragger split-screen orgies, you can frag till you're dizzy.
You might not have thought there would be much jeopardy in the fold-up world of scootering, but that's just where you're wrong. The freestyle scooter crew have been kidnapped by a giant robot.
You cannot be serious.
Only you and your tiny 2 wheels and your little plates of meat can save them. Push, push, push! It was bound to happen. This is the first and, dare we say it, the last game featuring a scooter. Out now for the PlayStation.
More 2-wheel action from THQ. This is the follow-up to last year's championship motocross. This time with better bikes, better tracks, improved graphics, and real riders. If seat-of-the-pants dirt bike action is your thing, but you'd rather get yours indoors, this is the one for you. Out now for PlayStation and Game Boy Color.
Xbox has been showing off its launch titles at GameStop 2001. Microsoft will be publishing 8 titles themselves.
And it looks like they've got something for everyone.
Morning!
Sports jockey sluts can rejoice with NFL Fever 2002. While American football might hold limited appeal in the UK, amped freestyle snowboarding has you adrenaline junkies pulling off insane tricks for maximum virtual publicity.
Petrol heads can also start getting high because Bizarre Creations developers of Metropolis Street Racer are bringing out their 4-wheeler frenzy on the Xbox. Codenamed Project Gotham, this looks like it might just be another bigger, better-looking version of MSR itself.
Action platform adventurers, there's also plenty for you too. Most notably, Munch's Odyssey as expected, and sci-fi shooter Halo. But that's not all. Expect the deeply magical Azuric Rise of Parathea and the enigmatic Nightcaster.
Multiplayer action has been focused on as well. Microsoft are bringing out their own futuristic street sport minigame-tastic Fusion Frenzy. Strangely familiar title, that. Bedroom developers ahoy! If you missed out on the home dev kit from Sony for the PlayStation, then start thanking your lucky hardware now, because Dark Basic is coming to your PC.
For $39.99, you can now buy this software programming language that promises to get everyone writing games together.
Apparently, with just a little application, lots of enthusiasm and imagination, the world of games development and riches is at your fingertips. And finally, on to cheerier news from the half-dead Dreamcast to half-naked ladies.
Shooting on the Resident Evil film has just begun, so you can expect a flood of pictures featuring scantily clad women toting big guns to land on a web near you. Michelle Rodriguez and Mila Jovovich lead a crack team of scientists going out there to stop a deadly virus from spreading everywhere.
Could this be Girls with Guns' ideal opportunity to up their circulation? Bedroom DJs are doing it for themselves. Move over, Sanchez. Out my way, Okie, because there's a new talent in town, and it's going to be massive. Thank you, Jester Interactive, for giving me your new music creation sim, the MTV Music Generator 2.0 on the PlayStation 2. Some of you may have bought the original music sims on the PlayStation 1 and boogied hard in your bedrooms to your own creations. Well, now you can do it considerably better with the double power of number 2. Expect more sounds, more effects, more memory, and multiple interfaces to suit you. If you're feeling like an old-school groovester, you could go for the hi-fi look. Or if you take yourself that much more seriously, you might want to try the minimalist MTV style. You don't have to be a musical genius either to lay down a proper track. After mucho toing and froing, I finally had the hang of it. 20 minutes later, I had a wicked tune going. If if you like to think of yourself as a bit of a mixmaster Mike, you'll be chuffed to hear that the game allows you to use all 48 of the PlayStation 2's audio tracks. You can create from and edit the stock library of drum beats, bass lines, melodies, pads, percussions and vocal riffs. Or you can get busy with some sampling with a USB external sampler and microphone that lets you put any sounds into your tunes. The original 2 music games didn't really grab me, but this one is well easy to use. Just you wait till I get my hands on the mic. Then I'm going to be MCing over the top. It's going to be a case of ready, ready, right, everybody, let's go out tonight, get on your bike, yeah!
Okay, so M's music's crap and you'll be glad to know there's no album deal.
Ah, but here's a slightly better tune sent in by Kenwa.
Well, they'll be sorry when my tune is #1 on Radio 1, A9, P9.
Yes, 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 yes. Oh.
Can you feel it?
If you want to find out about being a rock god like us, then head to our website at forlater.com/.
That's it. Oh yes, 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 oh yes.
No blood!
Oh yes, 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 oh yes.
No blood!
Okay, load it then. Welcome back to this heavenly edition of Bits.
Coming up in part 2, we're looking at top 5 God Sims.
We also give you a gander at the future of PlayStation 2 games that you can't have.
And the almighty Alex tries her hand at holiness with Black and White.
But first, the ecclesiastical Emily takes a sneaky peek at the magnificent Malice.
If you go down to the woods today, you're in for a big surprise, because Little Red Riding Hood has been replaced by the little girl equivalent of Itchy and Scratchy. There's a new game girl in town, and this one rips the heads off Barbies and the legs off spiders. If you'd like to meet her, she's in the new Xbox launch title, Malice. In a case of Manga meets Angela Carter, you play Little Alice. Although referenced up to the max with Lewis Carroll allusions, forget about the looking glass and the polite innocence of the heroine. Perhaps if the original Alice had decided to stay a while with a pipe-smoking, magic, mushroom-munching caterpillar, this might have been her trip. In the game, Alice wakes up in the afterlife, surrounded by the dearly departed whose death she's responsible for. Death himself is mighty pissed off at all the extra work she's created for him, so he gives her 9 lives to go back and rectify the situation.
You have to play through 3 incarnations of Alice to save this fairy tale world, liberally peppered with toilet humour. You can tell the developers have had fun creating these characters.
Developers Argonaut are up against the clock to have it finished for the Xbox Japanese launch in September, especially considering the level of detail going into the game. Rather than pushing the polygon numbers ever upwards, Argonaut have gone for a different tack, a case of quality over quantity. Every polygon effectively has gone through 3 separate processes to ensure the most touchy-feely look as possible. First, everything has been bump mapped to a high level of detail, then textures laid on top, and finally specular detail is added for that final shiny surface touch. Add some quite incredible real-time shadows and you know you're on for an orgy of the eyes. Essentially a platformer with magical and fighting elements, Malice is a virtual trip through the warped minds of Argonaut's game designers. In the meantime, Argonaut will just keep adding to her vicious side. The fairy tale princess is back, but she's bad and she means business.
Power, greed, corruption. You are weak and you want it.
But because of your consciences, most of you lily-livered piles of feces don't even bother.
But you can have more, much more, and you don't need to fork out buttloads of dough to a motivational speaker to give your ego a blowjob.
No, give yourself this omnipotence workout with our top 5 power sims. And kiss my lily-white butt, you pus-infested boils on the ass of humanity.
It was a revolution when it arrived. SimCity exponentially increased the computer game playing population by grabbing hold of the middle management in their off hours. No longer did they have to take orders from some faithless, cruel and downright evil boss. They could take over the town and wreak as much havoc as they wanted. Oh, and power did feel good.
But if grand sweeping gestures weren't really your thing, The Sims is the game for the power-hungry with a taste for the minutiae of life. Forget trashing whole cities. This is more about putting out the trash, getting your little people to make a cup of tea, have a bath and invite the neighbours round for a barbecue. The Sims arrived for our interactive soap opera pleasure last year.
If you think animals are much nicer than people, you can hatch, breed, teach, and coddle generation after generation of creatures called Norns. Laugh as they have their first poo, cry with pride as they speak their first words. With the most advanced AI in a game, even by today's standards, you're not so much controlling them, but watching them grow. Or killing them off if you get bored with them.
However, if you think keeping a pet is for big girls blouse amateurs and what you really want is to be master of the universe, you better get your megalomaniac ass into space. Startopia gives you the moon, the stars and all the beings. They will bend to your almighty will. They will! Now that's what I call power.
This was really the first game to replace human foibles and flaws with a new kind of hero. You are God, and you must get as many people to worship you as you can. I am Zeus, master of all before me. Not bad for a day's work.
Now it's time for Peter Molyneux's latest creation, Alex Gets Omnipotent in black and white.
Bless me, Father, for I have sinned, and these are my sins. Over the past 2 years, I've used offensive language. I've abused fruit in ways it should never be used. I've coveted another woman's game. I've taken the Lord's name in vain more than 3 times. And most recently, I sold my soul to the devil so I could get a copy of Black and White. Ah, yes. In the beginning, way back when, pre-now. Well, according to Peter Molyneux and his Lionhead Studios, that was a time of little islands floating on water and powerful deities battling for supreme control. Yep, life was all fine and dandy before you got your ego into the mix. So, after 2.5 years of panting and praying, we finally got our holy mitts on a copy of the game. And no, to cut a long story short, we were not disappointed. Welcome to your own Garden of Eden, where gods have monsters and you can be as butt nasty as you want to.
Oh, yes, it was hard to kill the first time, Father. The screaming, the bruises, the desperate pleading. But after I broke through the bloody hymen of megalomania, I realized that it was all for the good of me and my success. I figured if I wanted to rule and be worshipped, then I needed to stay focused.
Equally important, then, is movement. Black and White's control system is purported to be the most simplistic interface on the planet. But after a good long 2 sessions maneuvering around the hillocks and valleys, I still didn't have the hang of it. I clicked on the mouse for Britain with little to show for it but a sore wrist, especially in the fighting arenas. Practice makes perfect, however, and it looks like you'll get loads of that in this immense game. For those of you familiar with other Molyneux marvels, you'll notice immediate similarities. It is, after all, a compilation of the best ideas of his past. It's not for the post-pub coming down after the club PlayStation crew, but this is the one to own if you liked Populous or fancy trying out God's tablets for the day. It's definitely one for me. So there you are, Father, my confession. I'm a murderer, a blasphemer, and mice make me tingle. I have sinned against you. So do your worst, Father. Chuck me away into the deepest, darkest pits of hell, where I'll wallow in my own poo and live life eternal in suffering. But just remember, whatever you do bounces off of me and sticks onto you, because I'm in charge now, Father. And I'll be there at the judgment day, clutching on to a copy of the new scripture, Black and White. It
was a black Christmas for all things Sony last year. What with the rushed, premature, ejaculatory feel of the messy PlayStation 2 launch.
But it seems as if they're coming up trumps now with games like Zone of the Enders. But there's a whole bunch of titles that we think should have come out at launch last year, but we've had to wait until Christmas 2001 for. You'll have to wait for anyway, because we've got them right in here.
Now, see, it's a catch-22. The publishers aren't going to launch their big flagship titles until more PlayStation 2s are sold. However, we're not going to shell out the dough until there's games worth buying for.
Christmas? I'll give you Christmas!
Where would Sony be without its flagship racing title? Well, waiting for a trip onto PlayStation 2s come December is this fine-looking version of the Master Tailpiper. Once upon a time known as Gran Turismo 2000, this speed devil stalled in the pits and is arriving as GT3. Grab 5 pals and 3 PlayStation 2s, 2 monitorial devices, and you could be eye-linking your way into a metal gangbang. Can you say varoom varoom?
It took Hideo Kojima 8 years to create the original Solid Snake story on the PlayStation, so we really shouldn't be complaining that Metal Gear Solid 2 has taken a mere 4 years to complete. And it looks like it's been well worth the wait. The return of the sneak 'em up won't be upon us until November later this year, but by the time it hits our PlayStation 2s, it'll be making rather a big noise for such a stealthy game.
Developers Psygnosis are being particularly cautious about this 4th game in the lucrative series, Wipeout Fusion. This was the series that trendified the PlayStation as hordes of gurning ravers marvelled at the speeding graphics and euphoric beats, courtesy of DJ Sasha. Now the popular anti-gravity racing game has been rebuilt block by block from the ground up to comply with PlayStation 2's new hardware. Whoa, steady on. You might pull a whitey with this one.
Nope, you're not going to get your mitts on any of these beauties unless you're a big-time sinner and have sold your soul to the devil. However, if God is on your side, then tonight you can go away with a handy-dandy portable PS1 and an LCD screen, courtesy of Wild Thing.
Yes, it's competition time!
All you gotta do is pray a little, say 10 Hail Marys and a hair to your father, and answer this question.
Beelzebub's a-banging on the door, Death's doing the funky chicken in the kitchen, and the 4 horses of the apocalypse are shitting all over the garden and eating the lawn. But where shall we 3 meet again? Burn us or bathe us, what we want you to do is describe the most delicious gaming heaven and the most unbearable gaming hell. Leave us in purgatory and you lose, lead us into temptation and deliver us to evil, and you shall rise up to the status of the one with the PS1 and the screen.
Send your answers or any little bitchy things you'd like to say till the Lord strikes you down, because we sure as hell ain't going to be listening, to our website at www.fourlater.com/bits.
I'm a sexy bastard.
Miso Hornby.